Alright, Scrafters, I thought I would cast this replay, or at least the start of it, just as a quick demonstration of the importance of building workers. So it was supposed to be a quick game and it turned out to be an absolute grind. So this is yours truly up in the top right, and as you can see, I'm building workers. Down in the bottom left, my opponent is this Terran guy who, spoiler alert, decides to rush me. So what we're going to see, if we just kind of generally keep an eye on the production and stuff, I was having some issues with the PC because I'd literally just had a complete PC meltdown shortly before playing this, and I realized at the start of this game that all of my settings were kind of gone, and it was all a bit weird. So there's a bit of faffing about, but nevertheless, I pretty much stick to a very standard opening while my opponent goes for this rush. So the point here, really, I mean, look how big World of Sleepers is. You know, it's look, my worker that's gone scouting, he's got a long old walk ahead of him. So this worker comes across the map to come and have a look, and as you can see, it's a full wall, so isn't going to manage to get in. Notice that the red compared to the green lines. Red lines are attack moves, while green lines are just move commands. So you notice what I did with the worker. You just move it across the map because you don't want it to be distracted by a scout that it sees in the middle of the map going the opposite way. When you get to here, it's an attack move, so that because I expected there to be an expo building, and so I thought my worker will then automatically harass that. If there isn't an expo building, then it's attack move up the ramp, because there's a pretty good chance you can harass the worker that is building at the top of the ramp, and it'll also alert you that your worker is fighting, so you can, reminds you to go across the map and look. So basically, here I am at home. Everything's looking pretty normal. I think this is where I had like some sort of spaz. It was about this time. But anyway, everything looks reasonably normal at home. I've got my expo 3/4 done. This worker knows that my opponent hasn't expoed, so I'm suspicious of that. I'm suspicious that I haven't seen a CC. I leave the worker here so that in a little while I can kind of dive in and just check the timing on the expo. So that's what that one is doing there. So what we will see, because I've gone and expand, as soon as this expand finishes, I can start building workers from it. I can start getting my macro up. I've got 2 workers building at a time. If I look at my opponent's base, he's got 12 workers mining minerals in his men. I have got fully saturated, so he has been skipping workers in order to do this. This business coming across the map, I have foreseen that he is going to do this because I don't know when, but I've double checked that there's no expo, so I'm thinking there's definitely a rush coming. So I've sensibly built a shield battery. Notice I'm still building workers. My opponent is not building any workers. So this is his rush. He is going to turn up with a whole bunch of Marines in the hope of slaying me. I have got 1 zealot to deal with this, and 1 stalker. So he decides to go for the focus on the pylon to get the shield battery. It's not a crazy move. My sentry's out now, so I get the surround with the workers and I kill his Marines. Notice I am still throughout building workers. Let's pause there. So he again is not building workers, still not building workers, still has this going on at home. So if we look at the income tabs, this isn't actually the ideal time to do it because I've just pulled all loads of workers, but let's have a look at this. Workers killed. He has killed 7 of my workers. I've killed that 1 of his in the early game. Let's have a quick look at the army supply and worker supply tab. So he's come across the map with this rush. He's feeling good about himself because he's killed 7 of my workers. But look, I've got 32 workers compared to his 20. So I am way in the lead, just way in the lead. It's as simple as that. Because his build has been, he's been so focused on getting up in my face and being aggressive that he hasn't stuck to the simple rules of the early game of StarCraft, which is to just non-stop build workers. Everything else is secondary to that, everything. So, you know, yeah, that's kind of it really. That's I thought is a pretty good example to show you, just to kind of say, well, actually, the early game, it's all about building them workers. I think what he does, he does expand here, and I think he pushes again with another kind of big push. But look, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know. 37 to 23. If you're him, what are you thinking? You've been across the map, you've done some damage, you've killed some workers, you're thinking you're well ahead. You know, no workers building, 2 workers building. Yeah. So, saturated. 1 short. One worker. It's just, so yeah, you know, based on this, if I said who's going to win this game, you'd be like, well, let's see now. Even with the mules, that's the difference in income. Not even close, really. Yeah, as it turned out, he went battlecruisers, and some annoying time in the battlecruisers turned up in my base just as I'd pushed out to go and attack him. Battlecruisers were a bit annoying, so the game did drag on for a substantial amount of time, but did manage to win in the end. Anyway, yeah, I think here he goes for another big move out. So notice again, you know, he's been aggressive, it's the big push, but all of that aggression means that, look, he is not building workers. I've got my 3rd under construction. I've got this is well and truly saturated. Missed out on one of the gas there. So, you know, all of this stuff is going to turn up. It isn't going to beat what I've got. It's going to get sent home, and he's going to find himself well behind, really, isn't he? Well behind where he would like to be. So, you know, there endeth this evening's lesson. Always build the workers. If you lose some workers, you're still ahead, you know what I mean? Because you never, ever stopped building them. Even during this battle here, while this engagement's happening, I'm building workers 2 at a time. He's not. So, yeah, he's probably killed some more of my workers. Actually, not so much really. But 54 to 31. See you later, dude. Anyway.